Okay, you probably can't see this, but this is a little tiny thread. This is a thin little hair from my wife's head. And this little hair here represents the last little thread of hope I had as it pertained to Star Wars. And really, after that last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, all I can do now is Hey there everybody, it's Rev Kev. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being a part of the community here, liking videos, commenting, and huge shout out to my members who, through your support, really help out to provide blessing to so many different ways in my community. So please check out that video about membership if you would like to be a part of that work. So I just watched the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and this is going to be a little bit of a rant slash not even a review, more of a commentary just on where I land on a whole lot of things. There will be a little bit of spoiler in this too, so if you don't want to know anything about the last episode, just hit like and then sign out and then come back after you watch it. So honestly, I have not been, secret about the fact that I didn't like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars movies. Now, I don't consider myself a hater, right? And I get it. When you don't like something and you continually don't like something, people kind of say, well, you're a hater, you're a hater. You got to understand kind of my history with Star Wars and kind of my history just with reading in general. See, I'm a pastor, so I actually study theology. I actually study world religions. Back in college, I studied mythology. I studied Greek culture, Roman culture, all these different types of things. The same kind of stuff that George Lucas studied when he wrote Star Wars. You see, George Lucas didn't make something to just be cool and to have, well, that's a cool effect, or that looks really slick, or that's really awesome. That was never his goal. He was telling a human story out of kind of these traditions, out of mythology, out of religion, out of war movies, out of westerns, all those kind of things, and put it all together and packaged it around something that was really cool. And he has said from day one, I remember early interviews in the late 70s where he talked about Star Wars is not about the special effects. It's not about the spaceships. It's not about what's cool. It's about the character. It's about the story. Story always has to trump everything. And since the sequel trilogy, that has clearly not been the case. They've done a lot of cool things. They've done a lot of things that look amazing. They've done a lot of things that are fun, a lot of things that are dynamic, a lot of things that are fighting. But for me, as again, someone who is looking for that human element, that draws all people, that connects with all people, it's that theology, it's that mythology that is a driving force of Star Wars, which is gone. It doesn't exist. They are not creating these stories around that. It's all being created around what's cool. So, a little bit of a rant, like I said. And I was the guy who was hanging on to hope. I'm a hope person. I'm a big believer in second chances. I'm a big believer in you hang on to hope. I'm a big believer in you forgive people 70 times, 7 times. All of these things. I'm a big believer when someone, sends you a nasty tweet, and hits you in one cheek, you turn the other cheek. Like that's kind of how I live my life and live up my faith. And so I had hope. I had hope going into the Rise of Skywalker that they were going to turn the ship around, that they were going to make Han Solo's death meaningful, that they were going to make Luke Skywalker's death meaningful, that it had something to do with some kind of bigger story. And the train wreck of the Rise of Skywalker, from a story perspective, just emphasized the train wreck of The Last Jedi. And now with the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, I was the guy. I had one last little tiny thread of hope. That this retcon of the sequel trilogy was coming. I believed, not that I believed, but I wanted to believe the videos talking about the insider information. I was the guy hanging on to hope, hanging on to hope, hanging on to hope. Exactly like I just did. It's gone. It's snipped. It's gone. That last thread of hope is cut and is burning in the fires of Luke's Jedi Academy. that we witnessed in The Last Jedi. All roads lead to The Last Jedi. There's no retcon coming. There is no civil war at Lucasfilm. Everything is geared towards, affirming and going towards the sequel trilogy. And honestly, I don't blame them, because the sheer amount of money that they have invested in this, like, how do you go back? How do you retcon that? How do you start it over? You just can't. Like, my son and I, we went to Galaxy's Edge this past January, which honestly, kind of being there and finally seeing it was really cool. Seeing a life-size Millennium Falcon, riding the Millennium Falcon, that was cool. Taking the Rise of the Resistance ride, that ride was epic. Like, from a ride perspective, I just wish it would have been original trilogy characters driving the story. But as a ride, it was incredible. It was an incredible piece of technology, which isn't going to be retconned anytime soon. There's no way. The sheer investment in there, they have got to hanker down and promote it and get people into it. So I get that's what they're doing. And as I've shared time and time again, I just can't get excited about the stuff that's happening in the middle, this period between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. So I like The Mandalorian. I was excited about The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian is setting up The Last Jedi. I was hopeful with the Book of Boba Fett. It just set up more of The Last Jedi. And anything else that comes out now, Cassian Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, all of these shows that are coming out on Disney Plus, it's just filler to bring us down that road to The Last Jedi. So, that's all I gotta say. That Book of Boba Fett, here's a big spoiler. The ending was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. Okay, sure, it was cool with Boba Fett riding on a Rancor, finally doing something cool. Like, it only took 6 episodes for him to finally do something cool. And then for him to save the day, to destroy all the gangs, to get rid of spice, the spice trade from Tatooine, to now be this hero, this leader, this person that people can respect and can honor, because isn't that what he said early on in the series, that he wanted to rule out of respect? He now has the respect of people kind of bowing down to him, and he's bowing back down to them. And then he turns around, yeah, this isn't the life for me. Yeah, I don't want to do this. Are you serious? So, what was the whole point of the show? Like, it had no story arc whatsoever to add anything. It was just this constant jingling of keys. It's like, oh, here's Baby Yoda. Oh, here's the Mandalorian. Oh, here's Luke. Oh, here's a Rancor. It's just like, gotta move on. Like, come on. Hire some people in your story group. Hire some writers who study mythology. Please. Hire some writers who study religion. That's what George did. And he pulled this stuff and he put it and he interwove that into the stories. You gotta start doing this, because you gotta start telling more compelling, interesting stories. You just can't keep down this train forever of just dangling these little keys and, oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, because it's not a good long-term strategy. I heard kids when I was at Galaxy's Edge, you're trying to reach out to these kids and trying to market this to the next generation. And the kids at Galaxy's Edge that I saw, there were a lot of them like, oh, that's fine. But they weren't spending the money. They weren't buying the t-shirts. They weren't buying the toys. It was kind of like, what else can we do? I want to go see Toy Story instead. Toy Story's better. I'd rather go do this. That's better. You're losing them. So you gotta drive it by not what's cool, but by the story. So anyways, a long little rant, commentary, review. My thoughts of the Book of Boba Fett, and the cutting of that last tiny little thin thread of hope that I had that a retcon was coming of the sequel trilogy. It's not coming. All roads lead to The Last Jedi. So that's it for me today. Would love to know what you thought of the Book of Boba Fett down in the comment section below. And again, thank you so much for being a part of the community here. It means the world to me. So until the next video, God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.